Rise with India podcast on ET Now.
Good morning and thanks for listening in. I'm Alex Matthew and this is the daily morning update from ET Now. Today is the 8th of July. The big news first. Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Wednesday effected sweeping changes to his government, ushering in a new set of leaders in key roles with 36 fresh faces taking oath, 7 others being elevated and as many as 7 cabinet and 5 junior ministers being dropped. It has brought in former Chief Ministers Narayan Rane and Sarbananda Sonowal, women leaders such as Meenakshi Lekhi, Shobha Karandlaje, Bharti Pawar and Pratima Bhaumik, politicians with strong grassroots connections and well-known faces like Jyotiraditya Scindia and Rajiv Chandrasekhar. There were also major shifts in roles. Dharmendra Pradhan moved to education. Mansukh Mandavia was given health as well as chemicals and fertilisers. Kiren Raju is the new law minister and Giriraj Singh got the rural development ministry. Ashwini Vaishnav bagged the railways, communications and IT ministries. The other top ministries remain with the familiar faces. Online food delivery and restaurant discovery platform Zomato could advance its initial public offer as the company and bankers appear inclined to crunch timelines. What's expected to be the second largest IPO in 4 years might open now mid-July or even earlier instead of the 19th of July that was planned earlier, according to an Economic Times report. Further, bankers have now recommended a price band of 72 to 76 rupees for the issue, which is slightly higher than was initially planned. The size of the issue is likely to be around 9,350 crore rupees, out of which 9,000 crore is a fresh issue of shares. More than 11 million businesses and individuals have availed nearly 2.75 lakh crore under the government's credit guarantee scheme to provide working capital and emergency funds to help overcome the economic stress caused by the pandemic. Banks have so far disbursed 2.13 lakh crore under the 4.5 lakh crore emergency credit line guarantee scheme, according to the latest available data. Moving on, the Adani Group, which is soon expected to take over the GVK-led Mumbai International Airport, plans to refinance its debt at lower rates with overseas funds, according to people aware of the development. The Economic Times has reported that Adani Airport Holdings, which will formally own a majority in MIAL, is now in talks with global consortium of foreign lenders, including Standard Chartered Bank, Barclays, Deutsche Bank and JP Morgan, to raise more than $1 billion in offshore loans. Proceeds will be used to repay existing local top-ranked public and private sector banks, according to the people involved in the exercise. In international news, in the last meeting of the Federal Reserve, officials were seemingly not ready to communicate a timeline for scaling back asset purchases due to high uncertainty on the economic outlook. But they did want to nail down a plan in case they had to move sooner. According to the minutes of the meeting held mid-June, various participants mentioned that they expected the conditions for beginning to reduce the pace of asset purchases to be met somewhat earlier than they had anticipated at previous meetings. In other news, former President Donald Trump has filed a suit against 3 of the country's biggest tech companies, claiming he and other conservatives have been wrongfully censored. Trump announced the action against Facebook, Twitter and Google's YouTube, along with the company's CEOs, at a press conference in New Jersey on Wednesday. He was joined by other plaintiffs in the suits, which were filed in federal court in Miami. And with that, it's over to Rohit Singh for the trade setup for the day in India. Morning, Rohit. How are we looking today?
Good morning, Alex. At the end, we found buyers willing to nibble in as Nifty once again looks set to make a dash towards 16,000. The big cabinet rejig could inspire some momentum on Dalal Street as key business ministries have got fresh faces. In the final hour, we saw banking and metal shares rev up smartly. This was the 4th day of gains for banking shares. Today, TCS will report numbers after market hours, so keep an eye on the positioning in IT shares. It was the turn of foreign investors to be net buyers to the tune of 530 crore rupees. Domestic institutional investors sold shares worth about 230 crore rupees. Asian markets are mixed, but Wall Street has clocked a fresh record. Internet stocks have outperformed the broader market. Meanwhile, the 10-year Treasury yield continues to slip, now down at 1.296%, its lowest since February. The latest FOMC minutes tell us that the Fed does not think recovery has made substantial progress yet. Oil has sharply cooled off on fears of excess supplies. Let's also tell you about some of the active stocks this morning. RBI has penalized 14 banks including SBI, BOB, IndusInd and Bandhan Bank over non-compliance involving provision on loans. PNB and its housing finance arm seem to be at odds over the SEBI order. The lender has called for a restructuring of the deal, but PNB Housing is keen to wait for the SAT order on the matter. 5 top lenders including HDFC Bank, Axis Bank and SBI are looking to raise up to $2 billion overseas in the next few months through AT1 bonds. Tata Motors has assured that steps are being taken to address the chip shortage hurting the industry. It said some vendors have expressed concern over supply constraint as much as 50%. Shares of paper product makers have surged on hopes of a revival in demand. The Adani Group, which is soon expected to take over the Mumbai International Airport, plans to borrow overseas to refinance its debt. Both Clear Science and GR Infra IPOs got fully subscribed on day one. In other important triggers, Zomato could advance its IPO as reports are citing some skepticism over the strength of the rally. Bankers have recommended a price band of 72 to 76 rupees per share. To recap, 16,000 continues to be the stiffest resistance for Nifty. Despite the last hour dash, experts still suggest caution until we see clear signs of a convincing up move. That's all from my end. Wish you a very profitable day ahead. Thank you, and I hand it back to you, Alex.
Thanks, Rohit. And as always, thank you all for listening in. This is Alex Matthews signing off. Have a great day.
The Rise with India podcast on ET Now.